Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Welcome
everyone.
to At the
Welcome to At the
Wellness
Wellness
Network and
Network
Sisters of
and
Wellness.
Sisters of Wellness.
Tonight, I'm really
Tonight, I'm really
excited that we
excited
are going
that
to
we are
be
going to be
honoring
honoring
Dr. Mary
Dr.
McLeod
Mary McLeod
Bethune,
Bethune,
the
the
woman
woman
who, with a dollar
with a
fifty
dollar
cent
fifty cent
and
and
5 young
five
black
young black
girls,
girls
started an
started an
all-girls school
all-girls
that is
school that is
now what
now
we know
what we
today
know
as
today as
Bethune
Bethune
Cookman
Cookman
University.
University.
Well, she is
Well,
going to
she
be
is going to
honored
be
in
honored in
Washington,
Washington,
D.C.
D.C.
on
on
Wednesday with
Wednesday
the
with the
unveiling
unveiling
of
of
a
a
statue
statue
of her.
of her.
She is the
She is the
first
first
African
African
American to have
American to have
a
a
statue
statue
in
in
the
the
Statutory
Statuary
Hall State
Hall State
Collection.
Collection.
And I am
And
so
I am
thrilled to
so thrilled to
have
have
a
a
an
an
alumni of
alumni
Bethune
of
Cookman,
Bethune Cookman,
Dr.
Dr.
Jacob
Jacob
Gordon. Thank you
Gordon.
very
Thank
much
you
for
very
being
much
with
for
us
being with
tonight.
us tonight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
When
When
you
you
when did you
when did
find
you
out
find out
that
that
the
the
a woman
a
who
woman who
started your
started your
university was going to be
university was going to
honored in
be honored in
Washington with a
Washington with a
statue?
statue?
We were involved at the very beginning, trying to mobilize our alumni members to support the process in our state legislation. We, in fact, even raised some money to do that.
Are you
Are you
surprised that it's
surprised that it's
taken
taking
this long
this
to
long to
honor her
honor
in that
her in
way?
that
I mean,
way?
she served
She
four
served four
presidents of the United
presidents of the
States.
United
I
States.
think
I
sometimes
think
we
sometimes
we hear
we
about
hear about
Condoleezza Rice
Condoleezza
serving
Rice
both
serving
Bush
both Bush
presidents,
presidents,
but
but
this is back in
this
the
is back in the
day,
day,
like in the
Yes.
like in the
30s and
30s and
40s,
40s,
Yes.
when she
when she
served as an
served as an
advisor to a
advisor to
black
a
woman,
black woman,
and she called
and she
herself a
called herself a
poor black
poor
woman,
black woman,
served
served
as an
as
advisor
an
to four
advisor to four
presidents of the
presidents
United
of the
States of
United States of
America.
America.
Why do you think
Why
it's
do you
taken
think
so
it's taken
long
so
for
long
us
for
to
us to
find
find
out
out
about her
about her
historical
historical
contributions to the
contributions
United
to the
States?
United States?
Well, it's a part of the American story. Uh, Women were not allowed to vote in this country until the 1920s, 1921, with 19th Amendment. And so things have been pretty slow. Uh, the founders told us that we are giving you a republic if you can keep it, but you must be working towards a more perfect union. It is that perfection that we're always working towards that gives us some hope uh, for the present and for the future. So I wasn't surprised that in the final analysis, she was selected. It was time. She will be the first woman, not in America, to be in that statutory hall. Definitely the first black woman to be
First
there.
black person.
First person, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you went to school there. So tell us about your journey in attending Bethune Cookman. How did you find out about it? Because you're from Nigeria,
I
correct?
was born in Nigeria,
Okay.
and I was fortunate to have Haile Selassie scholarship to study at Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia. And so in the summer of 1959, I went to Switzerland for international internship with the Swiss Air. I was in Zurich, and I was writing letters for applications. I wanted to come to America so bad because I knew about Kwame Nkrumah and Nnamdi Azikiwe. They all came to America to study in HBCU. So that's what I wanted to do. And then one day I got a letter that came from what they call Bethune Cookman College and said, you have a full scholarship. Everything is covered. You can come. You have the scholarship. I had no idea, so I started reading about the founder from 1904, the short story with the little girls. I got excited about it, but the scholarship did not cover traveling. And so my problem was, how was I going to swim through the Atlantic Ocean to come to America? And one day in my office, my supervisor came around and said, Jacob, I understand you have a scholarship to go to America. Are you going? I said, yes. I said, but I don't have transportation. He said, Jacob, you are a good intern. I want you to know that Swiss Air goes to New York 3 times every day, and we are going to give you a free ticket.
Wow.
That was faith. I say that was faith, which Mary McLeod Bethune also depended on in creating that college. So it's a coincidence. I came here in 1960. I finished 1962. It was unfortunate I did not meet her. She died in 1955 before I got here. But everything we say about McLeod Bethune, they appear to be limited to what she has done in America. She was more than America. She was also very international. Okay, very international. She gave scholarships to students who came from the Caribbean, from Africa. I was not the only one when I was there. And so that was the foundation for my education. It was a private institution. It was discipline. And I learned from the very first day that motto that stays in my head every day that says, enter to learn, depart to serve.
Ah, enter to learn, depart to serve.
That's right. That was the emphasis.
Yeah, Mary McLeod Bethune, born in 1875 to parents who were slaves, who were former slaves. Emancipation Proclamation, 1865. To see, as she called herself, a little colored girl from South Carolina, to have the um, vision to start a school. What do you think made her so special?
Well, she was challenged day one when she was born in South Carolina, Louisville. She used to walk at least 5 miles every day to go to school. 5 miles every day. That's what we used to do in Africa, but not America. She was one of 17 siblings. And so she had that challenge. Her whole idea was to serve, was to be a missionary. But she was told, you are a girl, you cannot be a missionary. So she went to study in Bible school, Chicago, Mood Bible School. She moved from South Carolina to Florida at Palatka. She was in Palatka. And her dream, she couldn't become a missionary, was to educate young Black girls. She was very much involved in any movement. She was always number one for Black girls in this country. She was the first person to become a member of the National Council of Colored Women. And then in 1935, she established the National Council of Negro Women, 1935. Way back 1935, we were talking about National Council of Negro Women, which is still in Washington, D.C. today. And so she has played a marvelous role. She's a role model. She's an educator. She's an activist. She's a politician. She's an internationalist. And she is the greatest advisor any president can ever have, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and a very good friend of his wife, Eleanor.
Yeah, that was an interesting relationship that opened a lot of doors for her. Back in the 30s and 40s, she was keeping company with Albert Einstein,
Yes.
Rockefellers,
Yes.
Carnegie. This Black woman was moving in places that other Black people were not even thinking that they could get in those doors. What made Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune so tenacious, you think?
She had faith in her dream. And that dream is to educate young people. If you read her will, it was very clear. I leave you with everything, love, faith, and everything else. But above all, the challenge is our responsibility to educate the young people. She knew very, very well that education was the only viable vehicle for upward mobility in America. And so she really thought about it, and she had a vision. And she followed that vision with prayer, with hard work, connecting people with people. She was like a social worker. I remember Lassiter Hugh was talking about her in 1929. Lassiter Hugh was invited to the campus to come and read his poetry. And when he left there, she decided to travel to New York with Lassiter Hughes. I mean,
Langston
that's just
Hughes,
the way she
yes.
is. She's very plain. Now, she had her drawbacks. She fought against Ku Klux Klan in the age of Jim Crow. What are you talking about? Yes, she went through all of that. That's why she was a civil rights leader. No, people don't give enough credit in her activities in the civil rights era. The right to vote. She was very, very worried, concerned about that. That Black folks must become a part of the mainstream of American politics. And she did her best. She suffered a lot of discrimination also.
But stood her ground.
Yeah, she stood her ground. I remember reading very well. Eleanor Roosevelt invited her to come to the White House. And everybody at the gate said, "Where are you going? Colored people are not supposed to come here." Eleanor saw her and said, "Come in." Okay? That is very, very challenging. She deserves to be, she should have been in that Statuary Hall long, long time ago. But we are glad she's going to be there.
Yeah, she was one of the founding members for the United Nations, to my understanding. She helped to write policies about how Black children and Black women were being treated.
That's why I call her a diplomat. She was there to represent Roosevelt in the United Nations. You name it, she has been there. Whether it's education, whether it's hard labor, civil rights movement, she did all of that and was still raising money from all sectors. People just love her for her vision to create this institution. There were those who were happy that she created it because there were also those who did not want integration, as she was creating a Black college. When I was there, 1960, before I left 62, we could not go to Daytona Beach as students, Black students. We couldn't cross to go to the beach. We had to go to what we call McLeod Bethune Beach or Creek to go and swim, way, way from there. So she went through the whole era of Jim Crow and the New Deal. She was very much involved in that with Roosevelt. She was at the center of the youth administration, where she was focusing on really getting our youth educated and be saved. So we owe a lot to her. She is history.
So she's going to be the first African American to have a statue in the Statuary Hall in Washington, D.C. But I think there are only like 5 statues of Black women in the whole United States. Fannie Lou Hamer being the 4th one in rural Mississippi.
Right.
But when you think about what she was able to accomplish, and today, because I heard one of her speeches and she said, education is the way, that is the only thing that will help move us from the bondage of slavery.
Yes.
Yet we have evolved now to Black children filling up alternative schools. Where did we go wrong? From Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune's messages.
We went wrong. Did we actually go wrong? We were all fighting. She was fighting for opportunities, for integration of schools. She was only about 10 years old after the Civil War. She came on at the age of Reconstruction, a lot of challenges, racial problems, segregation, separate but equal. And so her idea was to create opportunities for young people to advance. And she did. And now we have more opportunity than we ever had in American history. Students, Black students can go to Yale, can go to Harvard, can go anywhere else and be successful. Those were not the opportunities during her days. And so it appears to me that a lot of young Black now have taken it for granted. They won't even register to vote. I don't mean all of them, but the bulk of us in this country. They forget that people die to vote. Okay? People died to vote, not only in the South, everywhere. Lynching. So we're taking things for granted. And where we go from here, it has to be progress. We are not going back. Notwithstanding all the problems they are throwing on us. Even to teach Black history now, they call it CROT, and they give it all kinds of names. But that's American history. American history is beautiful. It's also ugly.
Mm.
American history is wonderful. It's touchy. It's short. But it's also sometimes very insensitive. So we have to take the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly. All of that make American history.
When you got the letter about being admitted to Bethune Cookman, did you recognize the significance of what she had done as you were doing your research, Dr. Gordon?
I didn't know then. I just knew that a woman has this college, and I was anxious to come to America for that opportunity. When I got here, that's when I found out. In fact, my little girl, my granddaughter, 16 years old, just last week, she and her mother came to visit us from Kansas City. I took her to the campus to show her what my root actually is. That's what's my foundation. Going to BCC or BCU was more than having education. It was discipline. It was developing attitudes of respecting people, of recognizing human dignity, of respecting human dignity, of having faith that all of these shall pass and we shall overcome, as King said. So there are a lot I learned beyond the classroom when I was there. She was the inspiration behind. I learned of the stories. The following president, Dr. Richard V. Moore, I went with him to raise some funds for scholarship students. And I learned quite a lot from that value. The fact that it was affiliated with United Methodist. And I'm not a Methodist, I'm Anglican. It just teaches me to have faith and have some discipline. I go back to the campus now, all those traditions have been wiped out. We couldn't go to cafeteria to go and eat without singing and pray before eating. Okay?
And they don't do that.
They don't do that now.
So there are certain values now we are losing, and that scares me.
Mm.
Because those values we are losing are not producing better kids.
Mm. Well, how do we get that back? Let me just say this. You said that she founded the school on faith. Here is a Black woman around the turn of the century with $1.50.
Yes.
And one of the places that they gave her, and this may be where the college is built now, it was a dump site, right?
Nobody wanted that area. Yes.
That they gave her to build the school. It was full of garbage.
Yes. But go look at it now.
Where the school is located now was a garbage site.
Yes, it's now the center of the place.
Wow.
Center of the place. International driveway. Go through there.
So that message, that sent a message to her about what they thought about what she could accomplish, and did not expect that to turn into anything apparently. But
No.
she turned a dump site, a garbage site
Yes.
that they gave her to build a school into the university that we know now as Bethune Cookman.
Everything that woman touched turned to gold. Let me put it that way.
Wow.
That's the vision, to do that. She knew that one day that place will not remain as a dump. She saw the vision. And she was very persistent. And she followed her dream.
At one
She worked
point,
hard.
say again.
She was not only dreaming, but she also believed in working hard. Okay?
Right.
She helped to create She helped to create the Alumni Association in 1932. We are 90 years old. With the help of her foster son. You know, she lost her husband very early on, 1919, she had died. He had died. Edward Rodriguez, that came from Miami, was her foster son. That helped to develop. You see, I want graduates to support this institution. You are my soldiers out there, you are my ambassadors. During the Great Depression, that woman thought about developing an alumni association. It's unbelievable, but she did.
So you are a former president of the Gainesville Bethune Cookman Alumni Association.
There's a chapter. We have about 26, 28 chapters all over the country, including the Caribbean. Gainesville has a chapter, but I'm on the board of directors for the National Alumni Association. I'm the historian. I just finished writing the very first monograph on the history of the National Alumni Association. It took 5 years at least to collect the papers, to find out where they were and get them to the archives so that we don't lose our history. But we lost quite a lot already.
Do you think, how much difference do you think it would make for us to know more of this? Because I had no idea that Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune served 4 presidents, was a founding member of the UN, took a garbage dump site and turned it into a school of higher learning, operated on the faith that she had. And here we are today. You know, we're concerned if we don't have money in the bank. She had $1.50 in her pocket. She didn't have a grant from anybody. She just had a desire to serve children and to teach children because she knew that education was the way out.
Yes. Yes.
And how do we get that back? Because
we get it back by teaching our history. History is is a powerful tool. History can make a people or it can destroy a people. I think someone once said, a people without a knowledge of their history and their origins and their cultures are like a tree that is on sand, a tree without roots. And a tree without roots doesn't survive, even the slightest wind. And so Mary McLeod Bethune knew that. She knew the essence of history. She was the longest serving president of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, which is now called the Association of Negro Life, African American Life and History, which was founded by Kadaji Woodson, the second Black American to receive a PhD in history from Harvard in 1916. He founded the association. She was the longest, people don't talk about it, longest serving president because she believes in the power of history. Okay? Yeah. You got to know where you come from to know where you are going. She was like that.
She believed in the power of history.
Yes. The longest serving president of that association is still the most powerful intellectual house of Black people in this country.
And for her to form the organization, a National Association of League of Negro Women.
Yes.
When Black women were trying to establish their right to vote, and she thought collectively we can be very powerful.
Yes.
I mean, she had a mind that was just unbelievable to have that kind of mind with all of the oppression around her.
Yep. The National Council of Negro Women was a model that I copied when I was at the University of Kansas, when I was trying to develop programs for Black male in American history. At that time, we were looking at Black male. More of them were going to prison than going to higher education.
Yeah.
We are with this big grant from Kellogg Foundation, and I brought in Dr. Dorothy Height, who became the leader because she was working with McLeod Bethune. She took over after she passed. But he still is right there in Washington, D.C. She was our keynote speaker in Kansas City. So her model didn't just end with Black women. It helped us to develop the Black male. So we created the National Council of African American Men. Okay, it was in the 1990s. So that her model, her role model continues to impact on us who dare to read anything about her, or who dare to read anything about American history, particularly African American history.
Her statue, a 13-foot
Yes.
marble statue,
Yes.
is going to be unveiled Wednesday in Washington, D.C. There's going to be live coverage of that. So any of you who want to watch that, there's going to be live coverage. Daniel Cummins, thank you so much for watching. Stephanie Beard says, this is so enlightening. And Dr. Gordon, who started the African American program or PhD program at University of Kansas in Lawrence, you recognize the significance of this history that you devoted 30 years to helping to create a program so that this is one of the few PhD programs in the country.
Yeah. There are many now. Even Harvard now has a PhD program in African American Studies.
But you were
Temple
one
has
of
a
the
program
first.
in African American Studies. So it's beginning to spread, and we are working very hard right here at UF to move the status of the African American Studies program to a departmental status. You see the edited volume where we celebrated the 50th anniversary. I believe in history because I've looked at world history, how it has been used by other people to conquer us, to make Black people feel inferior. It is very powerful. I look at the use of history in colonial history of Africa, of Latin America, even the colonial history of the United States by the British. What happened to Native Americans is unforgivable. What happened to Blacks is unforgivable. And the notion that Black folks came here only during the transatlantic slave trade is a mistake. Africans were in the New World long before the slave trade. Slave trade was almost a recent history. They were here before Columbus even tried to come to the New World. All that is history we need to study.
Yeah.
Okay? To have some pride in who we are and where we came from.
Well, we look forward to you being a guest again on Mondays on Sisters of Wellness. We are usually talking to women, but tonight we're talking about a woman through the words of Professor Jacob Gordon, a retired professor from the University of Kansas, now doing some amazing work here in Gainesville, Florida area, an alumni of Bethune Cookman University. I really appreciate you being here with us. You're going to miss being in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday for the unveiling.
Yes, but I'll be there because we're going to have a party at the law school in the evening, the Alumni Association.
And you're going to Bethune?
No, that would be in Washington, D.C. at Howard University.
At Howard University.
Yes, the alumni are going to have a reception in the evening from 6 to 8 to celebrate the unveiling of this great woman. And I'll make sure my daughter is going to celebrate her 50th birthday. I'm going to that capital to see it there. I've seen it before in Daytona Beach, before it was taken from here.
What do you think it'll be like for you to walk through those doors to walk through that hallway and see the woman who was responsible for the education that you got in undergrad?
For me, yes. I will do something very, very simple. I make the sign of the cross and thank God that she did it.
And what was the motto that you all said?
Enter to learn, depart to serve. Education is meaningless if you cannot provide services to improve the quality of life of people.
So you come here, I'm going to teach you.
There you go.
But when I send you out, I'm not sending you out of here just to be puffed up and proud.
No, not just to have a degree.
Not to just have a degree.
Go to work, because we've got a lot of work to do.
I'm sending you out of here to serve.
To serve. That's it. That motto has been on my head since I got here in 1960.
What an
Everywhere I go.
Incredible woman who made countless contributions to American history.
Yes.
Now she will be honored in Washington, D.C. with her statue
She deserves it.
in the National Statuary Hall.
Yes.
Professor Gordon.
Yes.
Say again?
It's a great pride to all people of African descent.
Yeah.
It's a great pride to America for doing this. It's a good message to the rest of the world. The recognition of the great contribution of a Black woman.
A Black woman who made those kind of achievements.
Yes.
When all of the odds were against her.
All of the odds, from slavery to freedom and to triumph. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking time to speak with us tonight to help
It's a great
enlighten.
pleasure. It's a great pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're so welcome, Professor. I appreciate it, and we look forward to you visiting with us on the Timbuktu Report.
Okay.
That's on Thursdays.
On Thursday? Oh, I have a board meeting on Thursday.
You have board meetings on Thursdays?
We have alumni meeting on Thursday.
Okay. We'll catch you another time.
Okay.
Everybody, I really appreciate you all joining us for this. Make sure you tell your family members and friends about Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, the woman who left her mark on people like Professor Gordon. You may even have family members who attended that university. But even if you didn't, you cannot help hear her story, know about her, and be inspired, and to make sure that her work was not in vain by us doing all that we can do with the opportunities that people like her help to open the doors for us to walk through.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode
Go
of
Wildcats.
Physical Wellness. Say again?
I said, go Wildcats. We are Wildcats.
Go Wildcats. Okay, go Wildcats.
She gave us that name.
Excellent. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Remember, there is healing at the well. Make it a fantastic moment. We'll see you next time.